Hi ukulele group. We're going to look at the solo to Riptide, and it's something that I want everyone to attempt to do. Now you should all have this document at home so you can play along with me. Now there's one special thing I want to focus on before we get started, and that's this H. It is a technique called hammer-on, and it's a technique that stringed instrument players use. And it's basically creating two notes with only one pluck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the string, I'm going to hit the C string, but I'm going to make two notes, not one note. This is what it sounds like. Now, what I'm doing is I'm starting off with my finger pressed down on the second fret. You can hear that note. The way I'm making this note is simply by hammering on. And that's basically when you just press your finger down and you can hear the note change, like this. I'm not actually going. Those are two very clear notes. But to create a more interesting effect, I'm just going to hit it once. You'll still hear that second note, it just won't sound as sharp. That's a hammer-on. Now you can practice that anywhere on the fretboard. You can practice it up here, or down here. You can make it further apart. Practice anywhere on the neck that you like, it's still a hammer-on. But for the solo that we're doing for Riptide, it is from the second fret to the fourth fret on the C string. And it should sound like that. You can hear the note go up a little bit. Alright, so on our little tab here, you can see that the first two notes are the hammer-on from the 2 to the 4. Then we go to the E string and hit the open E, then the third fret. So you got your first hammer-on, like that. Notice which fingers I'm using. I'm using my index finger and my ring finger, and I'm using those for a very important reason, because I now have my middle finger to help me out with the next part. So the next part is 0, 3 on the E string. Open, 3. Now I'm using my middle finger for that because that string and that finger is free to use. And it just so happens that that note that I'm hitting, the third fret, is right in between the second and the fourth fret, so it works perfectly for that. So I usually go, I keep my fingers there because we're actually going to go back to those two notes, and my middle finger that's still open is just going to go straight on the third fret. So I'm making a shape with my fingers. Ooh. So first off, we do the hammer-on. Oh, that wasn't a hammer-on. Then I can just go open, 3. Okay, have a practice of that a couple of times. Once you've got that, you've only got 2 more notes to go. So we've just done the 2 to the 4, then we've done open E, third fret E, then we actually go back to the second and the fourth fret on the C string. But this time we're not hammering on, we're going to hit those 2 notes individually, like this, 2, 4. So the first time you hit those 2 notes as a hammer-on, make sure you're using the index and your ring finger. The second time, you use it individually. Show my finger. So that time I'm hitting the C string twice, but the first time you're only hitting it once. Now the hard part is blending it all together. Just make sure that you are using the right fingers for the right notes. Now we're not really moving up and down. It's kind of a very static solo, which means you don't have to move your fingers very much. You can kind of just keep them in that position and pop your fingers up and down, and that will hopefully make the notes. Now in the solo, you do those 6 notes 4 times over. The way you're going to improve and get better on this, it's going to feel very strange at first, is by doing it over and over and over again. So what I do when I first learn something, a solo, I sit down, I put my timer on for 5 minutes, and I do it as many times as I can. Five minutes till my buzzer goes off, and then usually I feel a lot more comfortable. Doesn't matter how slow you start, you can start this slow. Eventually your fingers will know what to do and you'll slowly get faster. But starting slow is really important because you want to make sure that you are hitting the notes very clearly. If you get a bum note like that, it's okay. Go back to the start, do it again. And then slowly you'll get more comfortable. Okay, good luck. Make sure you remember it is only 6 notes that you are learning. It might feel a bit strange at first. The more you practice, the better you will become.